Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+. Rated TV MALV. Viewer discretion advised. Maya Lopez has betrayed her mentor, the notorious Kingpin. Now on the run, she returns to her hometown to prepare for the biggest fight of her life. Don't miss Marvel Studios' hardest-hitting series yet. An epic 5-episode event. Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we're about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
This is Caroline.
And it's Turn Up Tuesday. We got some good stuff going.
Yo, I got some stuff in the news.
Let's do it.
Okay.
First of all, happy post-Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
We forgot to tell them happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy
on
Thanksgiving
Thursday.
a week ago and a half. Now, today we are recording on the 27th. So we all know that news changes very fast.
Yeah.
Rapidly. So this is the update of these two murders as of today.
Okay.
So we have the Idaho for the Moscow murders, the 4 college students who were brutally stabbed to death. What's the latest that you've heard?
That they were stabbed and that they ruled out the hoodie guy. They ruled out any of the roommates and the caller, and I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So the most recent press release was on the 25th, and it really didn't give any new information, but just kind of went in depth of the timeline. Kind of like, this is the time they were at the food truck. This is the time they got home. This is the time that we believe the murders happened or whatever.
Yeah.
So one thing that's interesting is, they say that there was no sexual assault.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that this is not a sexually motivated crime.
Okay.
So, the guy could have been his,
release.
His reason for doing the crime.
Uh-huh.
And he could have just, got off on...
Like a BTK.
Yeah, just slitting the throats or stabbing, and then whatever. We don't know if there's any evidence of
ejaculation.
Yeah, any fluids like that. We don't know. But so even though there was no sexual assault, actually it still could have been motivated sexually, is what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. But did they say that?
They haven't said that or not said that. They haven't confirmed or denied. But you just you're trying to. What they're doing now is trying to rule out the people in their inner circle, and then they'll kind of widen the circle. So they've essentially ruled out, the roommates and the ex-boyfriend and stuff like that, or at least for now.
I always wonder if they say that so that they don't go anywhere and they stay, kind of like the Delphi did at the beginning. They said, oh, this man could help us. He might have saw something if we recognize this man. So I wonder if they did that little reverse psychology type thing so that they're not. Or
they could be at this time they are not suspects or whatever. So they have tons and tons of evidence that they've gone through, right? Now, a lot of people are saying it's taking too long. They should have at least a suspect by now. The police are doing a terrible job. Blah, 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 blah.
That's right, because there's no such thing as an unsolved crime. Or, no, it's not 48 hours. It's not TV. It's not Law & Order SVU.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen in an hour.
This is a very large crime scene. This is a 3-story house.
Gosh.
This house has 6 bedrooms. It has multiple entries into the house. There's blood on the walls. There's blood on the beds. There's blood in all the, there's blood all over the place. So they're collecting all this evidence, and it's going to take time to figure it out, because it's so weird, because you would think with all the video and all the stuff, but these kids are at a college area. They're not going to have like a Ring doorbell on every single home, because they didn't have Ring doorbell.
But they did have a code to the home.
They had a keypad code, but sometimes, from what I've heard, is they didn't, either everybody knew the code, or it was never really used, like locked much or whatever. But I don't know.
Which I think is common. I mean, if I walk into my son's apartment right now and there's 4 players that live there, you just walk right in. Like, it's never locked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the people around there, like, they just don't worry about that because they're college students.
So now for the 911 call, it came from one of the surviving roommates' phone.
Yes.
So what they did was they had most likely, I was confused as to how the caller reported a unconscious person.
Yeah.
Because if you see this scene of all these people stabbed, how are you going to be like, oh, somebody's unconscious? But this is what is being speculated.
Okay.
That the surviving roommates were like, oh, they woke up and they're like maybe texting their friends and they didn't hear anything. It's usually pretty loud. There's usually some at least walking around going on. They didn't hear any, like there was no movement. So then they start calling whoever, one of the other roommates. They don't answer. They go bang on the door. They have their doors locked.
Yeah.
So, but it could easily be locked like one of those little doorknobs where you twist the little knob and then you close it and then you leave and the door's locked. So.
No, usually college, you have your own key to your own door.
Well, if it's like a dorm, right? But this is just a big like condo type.
But renters now, if they know they're renting in a college town, right?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Each room, and each room has its own lock and its own key.
Yeah, which we don't know what the lock is like, and we don't know if it's a key lock or like just like you can get a little pin and you can push that little thing in. So they're saying most likely the people were banging on the door, nobody answered, and so then one of the friends who was over there, because they called some friends to come over, the friend called and was like, I think one of our roommates is unconscious. That's just speculation. We haven't heard the call. They're not releasing the call or the person because they're trying to protect that person, because what if this killer out here is on the loose and is like, oh, this is the person, and now I'm going to go get, So do you think this is a serial killer?
Are there other people in the are there other like crimes in the area besides Ted Bundy? Like, this is Ted Bundy is the only thing that this mimics,
right? Because people have been asking if it's serial killer, and
I don't think so.
I don't either. I think that police know, they're saying it's targeted, but they haven't really given us the information as to why they think that.
Yeah. So
most likely they have that information and they're just not releasing it. But I would think that there's got to be some kind of clue that they have to where they know that it is targeted. And
a serial killer, what he did that day wouldn't even constitute a serial killer. That would be more like it wouldn't even be a spree killer. That would be just like I don't know, opportunity killer, because you have to have a series of 3 at different points with breaks in between.
Yeah.
So it would have to be other separate incidents like this.
I think that it was some dude who lives nearby who maybe is a little older, college age, a little older than college age, and wasn't like enrolled in the college. And like he had just maybe been seeing Kaylee. It's either Kaylee or Madison are the 2 that I think would have been targeted. I don't think it was the boyfriend-girlfriend couple. So
unless they're incels.
Oh. Well, incel, I thought, is a male who doesn't like to have sex. Or nobody likes to have sex with the male.
But they hate people.
No, you're saying the killer could have been an incel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I thought about that.
Because I was like, it's probably some like loser guy who lives at home at his parents' house and he keeps seeing this girl and he's like, oh, they're always just flaunting their stuff everywhere and I can't have them. And so he maybe just wanted to do something to one of them, but then didn't plan on the boyfriend and the girlfriend being there because the boyfriend didn't live there.
Yeah.
Ethan didn't live there. But also, Kaylee was not living there at the time either. She was just coming and visiting. Like, she had lived there, but she was coming because she just got this new car. And she was showing her friends her new Range Rover. How she got a Range Rover? Sugar baby.
No, I'm not going to talk about the bib dad.
I'm just speculating.
I don't know. I don't know what her parents do.
I don't say anything. I would love to be a sugar baby. But
sugar baby.
So we're really just still.
Right now, I think it's a female.
Oh, you think it's one of the roommates?
I don't know if it's one of the roommates. I just think.
How about the sister? The sister just going on and on and on in these interviews. Why are they giving so many interviews? That family and that sister.
I don't know. I haven't. The only interview I saw was Ethan's parents. So I haven't watched every interview.
Just talked about that. Kaylee's parents have been on multiple interviews and her sister, multiple. And she does not look like a friendly person. I'm just saying.
I would not be surprised if it was a jealous female. That could still fall under a crime of passion, jealousy, right? But to be that, think about Missy Beavers, right? How they kind of describe that crime scene and what could have happened to her. I think that women can be just as dirty and volatile as men. And the fact that there were three girls and one guy, one of them was probably the main target. She just had to get the rest of them. Now, I don't know if it was a roommate. I don't know if it was a sorority sister. I don't know who or what. I just right now in my head, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a girl. And that's I think it's this
guy who was a hunter he hunted, and so that's why he had that hunting that type of knife.
The type of knife.
And then he has some hunting cabin where he went and fled and he buried the knife in the backyard.
I hope we find out just so we can know who's...
And I did hear a psychic do a reading. She said he ate an apple as he was he went to the house, he ate a little bit of an apple, he was going to put it in the sink, but he didn't because he was like, oh, they'll see my teeth marks, so he put it in his pocket, and then he did the killings, and then he used the bloody knife to cut pieces of the apple and eat it, and he loved the taste of blood.
That's what the railroad killer basically did.
Well, this psychic apparently knew called the Lori Vallow Daybell and knew where the kids were buried. Yes. And I watched it and I read all the comments because those comments, people are going to be like, this bitch is crazy. But they all thought that she was legit.
I don't rule any of that out at all.
So supposedly she says it's a guy who works down the street at some bread bakery place. I mean, she kept seeing baguettes. She said she thinks the car parked a little bit up the street. He got out the car. He went in the house. He is like, oh, I didn't expect the guy here. Covers their mouth, stabs them, and then the girlfriend stabs them real quick, goes upstairs. He's wanting to spend time with one of the other girls, but then one of the other girls heard it, so he had to kill her, and he was pissed because he didn't get to really enjoy it.
Oh, my God.
And then that's when she went talking about the apple and all that. Oh, if that turns out right.
I know. They need to hire her.
Listen, whatever. This family. This is just awful.
It is. I was telling my friend whose daughter's about to go away to college, and I was like, that's when the stress happens because you don't know where you're sending your kid to. You don't know who they're hanging around. You don't know what life they've been a part of, and how many people have we talked about.
Or is it random? Well, I don't know.
how many people have we talked about that like were normal college students and then ended up being?
Yeah, this is like, you would almost feel better if there was like a serial killer out, like you knew Ted Bundy was out there.
Yeah.
But
and now a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
911, what's your emergency?
Do you hear that? It's coming from the house.
It's coming from inside the house? Do you mean? Could it be?
The Poltergeist. New from Rogue Media. Two haunted hotties talking about haunted places. Every episode we dive deep into the darkest places and give you a bit of history.
We're getting spooky in all the right places.
You've gobbled your last ghoul.
Follow along for the craziest and spookiest stories with Debbie's Dark Tourism. The Stanley Hotel,
Winchester House,
The Alamo,
Hotel Monte Vista,
and more spooky places. Find us at _Poltergals. POLTERGALS.
Look over your shoulder. It's us,
the Poltergals. Wherever you consume the podcast, you can find us there.
Would you send your kids back to go to school for the rest of the semester, or would you say just stay from home? Like, if you knew that this was, you had some young daughters who were in college.
Oh no!
And then you knew that there was this killer who was out there who can just do, and he could have he could have start looking at some other girl and do just the same thing. He could be like, I really liked it. It screwed up. It didn't go the way I planned. So let me do it again the way that I
Because if
planned.
it is a serial killer, it will happen again. Right. And even at that, not college, maybe surrounding colleges, like if it's a Kemper type thing, targeting co-eds. Killer co-ed. Yeah. What else you got?
Well, that's all for that one. Now let's talk about Shanquella Robinson. Okay. I'm going to just play this first, and this is kind of going to be our background. But she's from North Carolina. She's a kid's like hair braider. Mm-hmm. And just listen to this. It's about 3 minutes.
New details surrounding the mysterious death in Mexico of a North Carolina woman. Questions started swirling after cell phone video of her being brutally beaten went viral. Morgan Francis with our Charlotte affiliate WJZY has a detailed timeline of what happened and when.
Family says Shanquella Robinson arrived to their luxurious Ocean View home, Villa Linda 32, on October 28th. The guest list notes there were 7 people on the trip. Robinson called her mom to tell her a chef was cooking them dinner that night.
I said, well, okay, I love you, have a good night.
And she talked to her the next day. We know at some point Robinson was violently assaulted by another woman inside the villa. Picture comparison with the villa's online photo gallery confirms the fight happened in the master suite. Multiple people watched the fight, encouraging Quella to fight back.
Quella, can you at least fight back?
No. She says no before she's thrown to the ground and punched and kicked in the head and back of the neck. Investigative reporter Gerardo Zuniga with Metro Polymix shared the police report with Queen City News. It says on October 29th at 2:13 p.m., the group called for a doctor, telling that doctor Robinson drank too much alcohol and they wanted to give her an IV. At 3:15 p.m., the doctor arrived and noted Robinson had a poor verbal response in a drunken state with stable vital signs and was dehydrated. Dr. Carolina Beatriz Ornelias Gutierrez recommended they transfer Robinson to the hospital, but her friends insisted they treat her on site. At 4:20, Robinson had a seizure, and that's when her friend, named in the report as Wenter Donovan, called 911 to request an ambulance. During that time, Robinson's condition deteriorated. Dr. Gutierrez declared her deceased just before 6 p.m. The doctor was with Robinson for nearly 3 hours, a large discrepancy with her death certificate, which says she died 15 minutes after her injury. Another inconsistency, her time of death, which is noted as 3 p.m. on her death certificate and 6 p.m. in the police report. Police who were called to the villa at 5 p.m. arrived at 5:25. They tell Queen City News friends also told officers Robinson had alcohol poisoning, something they say they knew was false when her autopsy came back. On November 9th, Robinson's mother, frustrated and seeking the truth, speaks to Queen City News, telling us she doesn't believe the story her daughter died of alcohol poisoning, something her so-called friends were also telling the family. On November 10th, Robinson's body arrived back home to family along with her death certificate, which listed her cause of death a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the top vertebrae in the neck. It indicated to family she had been beaten. On November 16th, only after news agencies pressed Mexican authorities on the suspicious death did they share a press release stating they were investigating the death of a woman at Fundadores Beach Club. 2 days later, November 18th, the FBI announced it had launched an investigation into Robinson's death, nearly 3 weeks after she died.
Thank you for watching. Go to news.
Okay, y'all. This is crazy. It's over a month, and we're just now hearing about this? Like, so one of the guys that they talked about in this this reporter, this Gerald
Zuniga.
Yeah. He is so she went to Mexico with a group of like 6 friends or whatever. Dejanay Jackson, Khalil Cook, Winter Donovan, Alyssa Hyatt, Malik Dyer, and Nazir Wiggins are all the people who are listed. So they go back and they say that she had alcohol poisoning. Clearly, that was not what was on the death report. So this reporter, Zuniga, he did an interview with one of my YouTube guys. And so it was crazy because this is where all of the major news outlets here are getting their information from this guy. Okay. So this guy is a like a Mexican investigator, and he's been doing it for over 20 years. And
he's like Brian Enton.
Yes. And so he has a little bit of inside scoop that has not been talked about.
Okay.
We're about to talk about it.
Okay.
So the only reason that he even heard about this case is because he was covering another case about this older 73-year-old guy from California who was kidnapped and murdered in Mexico. So he made that story. He published that story, and the police went to him and was like, why aren't you talking about this other story? And he was like, I don't know anything about it. So nobody was talking about it. So once he found out about it, gathered all the information, did some research, and then he made did his story, which this was 19 days after the murder. But once this story went public, then that's when it went viral everywhere.
Okay.
So this guy is the guy. So this crime is considered femicide. And in Mexico, they say that femicide, well, this is femicide, when a homicide that's committed against a woman. Okay, so homicide's a murder. But in Mexico, they made a law that in the federal penal code, the crime of femicide is saying whenever a person kills a woman with with a lot of violence. Okay. So if it's extra violent against this woman, then it's femicide.
Okay.
Now, in this Shanquella's case, this was very violent, and that's how they classified it as femicide. But also there's a couple aggravating factors, which are like, since it was videoed, that adds a factor. Since they left, they left the body there, that was a factor. Since they left, that's a factor. So there's all these factors. You have extreme violence, abandoning the body, recording it, which is invasion of privacy, and fleeing. So all of these charges are piling up.
So did they leave after the baby was declared?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
So this is another part. This is going to show you a little bit of the culture differences here. Because whenever this guy is talking, this Zuniga is talking, he's like, well, we initially thought that the fight was over because like Shanquella and Dejaneger, they start fighting for you. We don't know why.
Yeah.
And she's beating her up so bad, she's like throwing her on the floor.
That's not even a fight. Like,
right.
Shanquella wasn't even.
Well, this guy was like, well, we believe that it's because the other girl was wearing intimate underwear on her head and thinks that she fell asleep, and Quella put the intimate underwear on that girl's head as a joke, and they're like, that's a bonnet.
Oh.
Yes. This is what they said. Because she had a bonnet, and they thought it was like she was putting underwear on her head, so that's what she got mad, started to fight her.
Oh, my God.
This is literally what it was saying. Okay, so obviously that was just whatever. They don't have bonnets in Mexico, I guess. I don't know. No. So police get this 911 call, and when they get there, there's already a doctor there.
Okay.
Doctor's different. So this doctor was called around like 2:15, 2:30.
And how do they know how do they get a doctor?
I don't know. I don't know if they called like can you have your on-site doctor? I don't know. It makes no sense. So the doctor gets there around 2:30, 2:15, 2:30. And it takes the doctor an hour to get there. So the doctor, so now it's 3:30, and she sees
AM or PM?
PM, I believe.
Okay.
And she sees she's barely conscious, and she tries to revive her, but she's not reacting. So then the doctor tells the friends that, hey, we got to go to the hospital. But the friends are like, no, we got to treat her here. Okay. So then they say, just give her an IV because she drank too much. I mean, she just got there the day before.
I know.
Could you even be that drunk?
You do go hard the first day.
I know. But she's like, give her the IV, and the doctor's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That'll work. So then some police show up, and then some paramedics show up. It's Red Cross people, okay?
Because they've called 911.
Finally.
Yeah.
So they give her 14 sessions of CPR. I feel like that's a little too...
It's not a...
No, I don't know I think it's like 14 rounds of CPR.
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of like a lot. I don't know. But this didn't revive her. So then the doctor declares her dead at 5:47, like around that time. So the problem here is 3 hours have passed from the time the doctor was notified, which is 2:15, 2:30, to the time where she was declared dead, which is, let's say, 5:30. So the problem is that there was now an autopsy.
So one round of CPR is 2 minutes.
Okay.
So then you did 14 of them. But no, like if they want to, so we just had an incident where a family member died, but they worked on her for another hour just to make sure, because they try to revive, because if they get a heartbeat back, then they could hook you up and maybe save your life. So just because your heart does, so I think that's what's 14 times 2? No, I don't even think that's long enough.
Oh, I just figured I don't know. I was just like, that's a lot of like.
They worked on my brother for an hour and a half and brought him back.
God, like they did CPR rounds every.
But you have a lot of people to switch off.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe y'all can tell us if they should do more or how, whatever that. Okay, so the problem is that there's now an autopsy. And the autopsy says that this person died 15 minutes after their injury. And it said that it was from the broken neck and the 2 vertebrae, just like what this report said. But that this person would get 15 minutes max. If you died from that injury that was on the autopsy, you're not alive for 3 more hours. Mm-hmm. So this means that when the doctor got there, she was already dead.
If that's right.
Yeah. If the autopsy is right.
Uh-huh.
The autopsy is science, right? Like it's got to be right.
I think another autopsist could perform it and probably get something different.
Well, yeah, we could do another autopsist. So the doctor was trying to say, no, I was there. I told her I said we need to go to the hospital, but the friend said no, and I gave her IV. She started having convulsions. She was like lost control of her bowels, and she began to have seizures, and all this happened over several hours, and then at 5:47 is when we declared her dead. But the autopsy is saying she was dead after 15
Already
minutes.
Dead. Wow.
Okay, so the doctor gets there, right? Okay, so Shanquella's passed. She has 6 friends that are there. The police show up. Red Cross shows up. Everybody's in the room, and there's a naked body. Okay, you got 6 friends, doctor, Red Cross, police. And
nobody's covered up.
Well, no. If this gets out that there's been a murder of an American in this Los Cabos, this is an area for tourism.
Yeah.
This ain't good if this gets out.
No.
So the police are like, what are we going to do? And then there's all of a sudden speak of some money that's missing. So it's like maybe $6,000. I saw reports of like $10,000, $6,000. So then it's like Shanquella had her own money. She had her own business. She like made good money, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, but all these people are just allowed to leave. Like, hey, this person, like apparently in Mexico, if there's somebody that dies, everybody goes to jail until you figure out what happened, and then you release them. You don't just release them and let them go and then let them go out of the country.
Yeah.
So it's all seeming a little shady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
where was the money missing from? Shanquella? It might have been Shanquella's money?
Well, this is also what they said. That they reserved this like Airbnb. This is where they were staying. Mm-hmm. And it was like $5,400, but it was paid for by Shanquella. That's parentheses. I believe that's yes. And so this might be 2 different money situations, but this one is like she paid that money for the reservation of the room, and the resort or the Airbnb gave back $5,000 of that money back to the people. Because typically, do you get a reimbursement if you leave early for no reason? I mean, there's a reason, but
maybe for a reason like this. But
so they're saying there's just like it's a little suspicious that this Airbnb place gave them back their money, and then there's talk of more money that's missing. I mean, it's just like this is how this case is going. Wow. It none of this makes sense. And yeah, this is a big like this. It's called Puerto Los Cabos, and this place is Cabo Villa. Yeah. And it's like a prestigious tourist complex where they're trying to like, keep up their good reputation. So finally, there is a arrest warrant that was issued. This is just happening for like in the past couple of days. There's no name on it. They haven't put the name out there. We all assume it's this Dejanay
that was in the fight.
The one that was in the fight. And so basically there was also another thing that they said that this Dejanay person, they thought that it was a man. There was like rumors out there that this was actually like a transgender person, but apparently that the only reason they thought that is because the maids found a wig. And they were like, well, what should be putting on this wig, putting off this wig? And they're like, all right, well, she's black and she be wearing a wig. Like, so most likely this was going to happen. She's going to get extradited. She will be taken to the border to meet the Mexican authorities, and then she'll be taken to the Mexican jail. And what they do then is they have what's called a first hearing. And this is when you make an appearance. This is basically like an arraignment and a preliminary hearing all in one. And then she gets to make a declaration. So they're going to be like, what's your name? She said, Dejanay Renunu. Dion Janere. What's her name? And then, how old are you? 25. Okay. Who'd you kill? Did you murder Shanquella? And she'd be like, if she doesn't admit it, then they have all this evidence and they don't even need her to say anything because she's going to go to jail. Like, so what
it's not innocent until proven guilty over there.
I don't think so. They like, we got all the evidence, so you're going to jail. So they do have like what we call plea deals. So most likely she about to just throw everybody, all of her friends under the bus. Winter threw the last blow, because that's what they're already trying to say is like this other girl. There's this other video that we haven't seen yet that shows this other Winter girl throwing her on the floor, and that's what broke her neck. She never got up after that.
Well, and then I just saw a video of Shanquella, I think, and she was videoing in the room, and she was like, it doesn't take this long to get naked. Get naked.
Yes.
And it's like then she set her up, because she was pretty much naked. So it's like, did they set her up like she was the only one getting naked for whatever they were going to do?
Because she goes in a room with the full people, and they like are looking at her like weird, but I was like, I don't get what's happening.
Yeah. No.
So
and is that when it happened? Like, is that when they...
I don't know.
Attacked her.
So, well, it turns... So this girl, Dejanay, we're assuming allegedly that's who the arrest warrant is going to be for. If she goes, she gets, the sentence is minimum 20 to 25 years. Minimum.
She won't survive.
She will not survive. And max, so if she does lie and doesn't like say anything, the max is 50. Wow. So she's going to be snitching.
Yeah.
She's going to be snitching real hard. But I think either way, girl... the inmates are gonna get her. This is one of the worst. This is like a Russian Mexican prison.
Oh,
Russian prison. I don't know any other, but I just know about. You don't want to go to prison there. I'm telling you.
No.
So
that is the worst. But you know what they also will do? But now, okay, I can see Mexico like really trying to help and make a big deal out of it, because it doesn't make them look bad. It doesn't make maybe the doctor, the questionable stuff, but it's not like where before when people were dying, it was like mafia type stuff, or they were getting robbed, or the alcohol was bad and people were dying from alcohol poisoning or something like that.
These are
now
Americans killing Americans.
They're friends. Oh my God, her friends. And they had to be of decent friends to go on vacation. You front up the money, and maybe everybody cash after. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you front the money, and you're going on this long, beautiful vacation. And then this, I don't even know what the reasoning can be.
I don't know. I
even
read,
if she slept with somebody's husband the first night.
Yeah, I read on TikTok there was some videos where they were like, oh, she was texting her friend's ex-boyfriend or something. Like,
it's with women. It's it's gonna be jealousy. It's gonna be behind a man. It's ridiculous.
But I don't understand why she's not even like trying to fight back.
I think she's too drunk. I think she was really drunk, and her. I guess we need to know her BAC, but I think she was drunk at the time.
Yeah.
And that she just couldn't. She couldn't.
But who like beats somebody up like that? Who like
rage.
I mean, that was bad.
That's
if you haven't seen it, then
it's bad, y'all.
Just Google it because it's out there. And there's, I don't know. I think there's another one. They just haven't released it yet. So there's your latest. There's your latest. That's what we got. This case is just constantly updating and developing. Just both of these cases are, and they're crazy.
I think next week I'm going to bring y'all the organ harvesting story that has just come up. I have not been able to look into it too much.
Yeah, I don't know about it. You did text me, but I didn't know. I didn't look into it.
Somebody's mom stating, anyways, organ harvesting is a real thing. So let's talk about it next week on our quickie.
Yeah, is that what we thought happened to Jelani Day?
Jelani, yeah, that came up at one point. Okay, but before we X out, you guys need to look on our YouTube video and check out Caroline and I's hoodie. Eyes? I made fun of Delphi Murder for saying eyes. Caroline and I's hoodie. Our hoodies, and it says Waco on there, but they are gray. They're really, really comfortable.
They are. They're very
soft.
The
most important part is there is a group of high school kids that are very talented that work with Rogue Media and this nonprofit agency called Triple Win, and they have developed their own company called Southtown Supply Company. And if you look on our table, we have these candles, and Caroline and I have already taken some home, and they burn very bright and very evenly. And if I'm a candle burner every day, right? And I don't always burn a candle for the smell. I burn it for the light and the like the ambiance for it. Like probably more of that than for the smell. They smell very good, but I would say they burn longer and better than they have a strong smell.
Right. Yeah.
They also do these cute little coasters. And look at this. What's this called?
Cutting
board. Yes, it's nice. Walnut. Anyways, they're very creative. They make T-shirts. If you're interested in looking at any of their things, these are high school kids, y'all. Wow. They have an Instagram page called Southtown Waco. Let's see if that's what it's called.
I like this logo, too. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They're high school.
Southtown Waco, yeah. And so this is kind of like a transition program. It's going to transition them into the workforce or into a program. Like some of them work on our designs, like arts and graphics and all that kind of stuff. So check out Southtown Waco Instagram page, and you can message them if you want to order any of these things, because I'm loving this hoodie. Anything else, Caroline?
No.
Oh, one thing. Right now on Apple Podcasts, we are at 99 reviews. I need whoever has not, even if you have, to go on right now, kick us over 100. Like, we've been sitting at 99 for at least a week, and I need you guys to go rate us, review us, and you're already subscribed, hopefully. But we are at 99.
99 ratings.
Yes, we need 100 right here, right now.
Yeah, the rating is it's literally pushing the 5 stars.
Yeah. Those, but the important ones, I need some reviews.
Yeah, go and rate, but if you're going to rate, you might as well leave a review. And I know you people are out there because I know y'all.
Because we look at the downloads.
Yeah, so get to work. Send this episode to some people too, by the way.
All right, y'all. We will see y'all on Thursday for a new story. We're going to Mississippi.
Oh, hey.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And close, open.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.